I'm Sarah, otherwise known as Yarnmugs on Instagram and Ravelry. Welcome to my 12th podcast, first podcast for 2021. Today is the 18th of January and this is my podcast about crochet, knitting, sometimes sewing, books, things I'm interested in doing at the moment. It's probably a bit crochet heavy today, so yeah, let's crack on. How are you all? Hope everyone is okay. Here in the UK we are currently in lockdown, so yeah, I'm hoping everyone's all right. Maybe I'll talk a bit more about that a bit later. Let's talk about the crochet. So if you can hear anything, it's because I've got a beanbag on my lap. I'm in my conservatory and it's freezing in here, so I've got a wheat bag to warm me up. In December, in the last podcast, I had recently finished a couple of crochet blankets as gifts, and once they were done, that just freed me up to do whatever I wanted to make. I didn't have anything else on the go at all, so it was a really lovely feeling, and I really just wanted to focus on crochet. I love knitting as well, but I just had this urge to just do something that was really simple and enjoyable. And I think previously I'd shown you a few project bags filled with yarn already. I don't think I really knew what I was going to make with them, but yeah, I just knew that I wanted to do crochet rather than knit with that leftover yarn. So the first thing I made over Christmas was the Just Feel Better Shawl, and I thought that I mean, the name of that project just says it all, doesn't it? I've made one of these before and it is just such a relaxing make. So easy, but such a lovely result as well. It gives such a beautiful shawl. I remember showing you this before. It's using leftover, I'm so sorry, I hope that doesn't send your eyes funny with my dress behind it, but the darker red was the Rowan felted tweed, which is like an alpaca blend, and this red and white yarn was a gift from my friend in Canada, Bonnie, and it was a celebratory yarn for, I think it was for Canada Day, an anniversary, and I'd really struggled to find something to use it for because of the sort of the striping, but in fact in this shawl it comes across really well. Now I had one skein of this and a bit left over of that, so it's not a super huge shawl, but when I've blocked it, it's come out lovely. And in fact, because I wanted to use every bit of yarn up, the edging, so it's a triangular shawl but with this edge, I just kept going and made, in fact I don't even think the pattern says about doing trebles, but I just kept doing treble clusters till I used it all up. And then, funnily enough, even though it's cold, I blocked this on the washing line yesterday, which is my favourite way to block a shawl, to really peg out that top longer line to get a really nice straight line, and then I peg along the edges to really sort of draw it out. I'll put it on. So even though it's nice and long, but not as wide as some shawls, so you can get it round your neck. Oh, that yarn is lovely. And in fact, since I washed it or soaked it and blocked it, that alpaca is more bearable, because I do find that a little bit itchy sometimes, but the red and white, oh, isn't it lovely? So, you know, I can still wear it like that inside a coat. It smells lovely. So yeah, that's a really beautiful make by Caleisha Ryan. I'll link below. It's a free pattern, and I just decided to alternate, you know, the colours just randomly, really. Yeah, look at that red and white, it's lovely. The tweed has got all different colours in it. Can you see the little speckles of blue? I don't know if it really goes, but in fact once it's in a... Oh, that's better, you can see it a bit better there. Yeah, it's lovely. So I'm really pleased with that. A really lovely way to use up that beautiful gifted yarn and the leftover Rowan that I don't think I would have put in anything else. So yeah, that was my first December or Christmas make. Then I also had I had lots of purple coloured leftover yarns. I remember showing you before. And I wanted to make another shawl, but a different pattern. Just have a bit of tea. And a while ago I had made, or I tested the crochet shawl pattern for Rosina, Zines and Roger. It was the Days of Summer shawl. And in return, she gifted me 2 patterns, which I thought was so generous. That's the amazing thing about testing patterns. Not only do you get, well, you're lucky to get the pattern that you're testing, which is lovely. That's all I'm, expecting really, but to get extras, that was amazing. So I picked 2 shawls, and the one I chose to do was the Off Your Rocker shawl. Oh my goodness, this is so lovely. But this is a gift. It's my mum's birthday today, and this is going to be for her, but I would love to keep it for myself. It's so beautiful. It's really big. So again, a really lovely triangular shawl, which is my favourite. I'll show you from the yarns actually, it might be a bit easier. So this I used every single bit of leftover yarn that I had. This lovely purple is the Heartspun yarn by Helen from Woolly Chic. I've talked about her yarn before. It is beautiful, eco-friendly yarn. She's recently won an award for this yarn, so check out Helen from Woolly Chic. It's beautiful. I would definitely buy this again and use this. This sort of grey speckled yarn was by Mint Bee Yarn, a local to me yarn dyer, and this was really luxurious. I think there's sort of cashmere and silk in this, so it is really, really soft and drapey. So I started off using those up, and then you can see there, once I'd run out of that yarn, I used this next lighter lilac-y yarn, and this was it's a lace weight yarn. I use these colours actually in my Joni boat neck. Do you remember that jumper I wore a little while ago? So it's quite fine, but it works fine with all the fingering weight. And this is like a linen blend, so there's little bits that stick out of the linen. But again, that worked out lovely. I need to snip that little end off there. But yeah, this is so nice. You can see how soft it is. And then I merged it into this sort of purpley speckly yarn. And again, this yarn was a gift from my friend Bonnie in Canada. We'd made some socks together, and this was left over, so it was lovely to put it into this. And then the last bit of yarn was, oh look, you can really see that. This is beautiful travel knitter yarn in the colourway Hogmanay, and I bought this when my first ever trip to Edinburgh Yarn Festival, and she dyed this yarn specially for that festival, and I made a lovely pair of socks, and this is left over. But that is really lovely, isn't it? Those speckles of bright pink. So yeah, I'm super happy with it. Again, I just carried on until I'd used all the yarn up. I'll show it you on because it is so big. So like if I wear it round my neck, oh look, it's so massive. And it does hang right down across your chest, but all round your neck. Oh, it's lovely just to see all the different yarns. And anyone that knows me knows I really I get a real sense of satisfaction using everything up, rather than just leaving odd bits and bobs around. Unless I was going to put it in my scrappy, granny blanket, crochet blanket. but it's so nice to actually put it into another project. Oh, isn't that lovely? I don't know whether this really goes, but I hope the overall effect is just a mixture of purples and lilacs. Oh, it's lovely. I hope my mum loves it. It's very soft. There's nothing itchy or horrible about it. But, oh, this is one of my favourite makes, I think. It's come out so well. And again, I blocked this on the washing line. Oh, Rosina, you've done such a great job. This beautiful, what did I say it was called? Off Your Rocker. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with that. I'll just fold it up a little bit. I'll pop this round on my mum's doorstep today. I think everyone has had a lockdown birthday now, haven't they? Yeah. So they were my Christmas makes, and they were so enjoyable to just sit, watch TV, watch podcasts, you know, Vlogmas. Oh, I loved every minute of them. Last time I did announce my 1 year podcast anniversary winner, and I sent her the giveaway prize. As Michelle in Texas in America, and she sent me a gift back, which again, the last giveaway winner did that as well, and you really don't need to send me. That's the whole point. I want to gift you, but thank you anyway. I really appreciate that. And she had previously made some mittens and a hat, and she gifted me them, and oh my goodness, when I opened them up, the smell of the yarn was so lovely. So she's made this lovely hat. I don't know if you have to turn the brim up, but it was quite big, so I turned it up, and I love it. I might even make a pom-pom, like a cream pom-pom, and put it on. But as soon as I put it on, she was worried it was going to be too big, but I have got quite a big head. Oh look, it fits so lovely. And it is so warm. And she said it is pure wool. It smells lovely. It's so soft as well. So I'm really happy with that. And she's had mittens made as well. These are really big, but I still really love them. To have something that someone has made. Oh look, they're so warm. So even if I bend the fingers over, fingers, oh, it's lovely. And I was really interested how she'd made them. I can feel the seam there. She had made them open, and I never realised you could do them like that. So yeah, that's really interesting to me, just seeing someone else's knitting. So neat, but it's lovely, so warm, and I have been wearing them every day. I've been going out for walks. I'll talk about that a bit later, but Michelle, they are beautiful. So Michelle has got a couple of Etsy shops. She's got one for her knitting, and also she did send me some project bags, and her so she'd made a little project bag there with a zip, very pretty, and sort of you know, padded, and a massive one, really huge, with lining as well. So check out Michelle. I'll tell you her Etsy shop. She's called Sweet Edgings, and again I'll link down below. But yeah, she does knitting and sewing. Really, look, you can see they're really squishy. So thank you, Michelle. That is really kind of you. Yeah, lovely. But that hat, I absolutely love it. I've got I've got two homemade hats. One is made out of acrylic yarn, but it keeps me really warm, but it's looking a bit old, and I was really wanting to make another one. So getting that hat is lovely. I think Michelle was worried it was a bit masculine in the brown colour, but I love brown, and I think, like I say, if I put a cream pom-pom on the end, that will, like homemade pom-pom, that will look nice. Although I don't mind it as it is. And then January, so once those shawls were made, I then thought, right, I can start with my January makes, fresh start. I love January. I always have loved January. I love New Year for that feeling of starting over. So with all my makes, I do love to get things finished before I start other things. I don't like too many things on the go at once. So yeah, so once those shawls are finished, I was really ready then to start something new. And I've got my sister-in-law's birthday is in January, and she has hinted a few times that she'd love me to make a blanket. And I was a little bit blanket out after those 2 blankets in December, but I have made before quite a chunky blanket which works up quite quickly. So I thought I would do that. I'd make her a chunky blanket, and she wanted sort of like beigey colours, which I suppose aren't particularly interesting. I would love a little bit more colour in it. I'll show you. But the chunky blanket I'd made before was the free pattern by Lottie and Albert, and she winds up 6 strands of yarn, DK weight I think, to make a really, really chunky blanket, and I didn't want it that big, so I decided to go with 3 strands of yarn. Sorry. Which makes a pretty chunky blanket. The 6-stranded one, you use a 20mm hook, but for 3 strands I just thought, oh, I'll go with an 8, and I use these Addy hooks. Does anyone else use these? They're really, I love them, they're lovely to hold. I used to get quite sore wrists, but since using these I don't. So yeah, so I've used an 8 with 3 strands held together. This is Stylecraft Special DK, and they're in the colours parchment. I've got 3 more here because I need to stop winding it up. You wouldn't believe the ball. I mean, the ball is like massive. I have to stand up and wind it. Yeah, so I've got mocha, stone and parchment together to give that kind of beigey colour. And instead of using the Lottie and Albert blanket, I decided to make the same pattern, the Cosy Stripe blanket by Lucy from Attic 24 that I'd made for those 2 blankets in December. Oh, look, I can feel a bit of fluff, sorry. And this is it so far. I don't know if that's a bit funny. So yeah, you can see sort of the mixture of the strands. It doesn't really show up very well, but they are mixtures of just rows of trebles and then a couple of rows of treble clusters. Oh yeah, that might be a bit better. So it's amazing actually, out of that, the first 3 balls wound together, I think I'm on the 19th row, so I'm quite amazed I can get that much out of it. I think it will soften up once I put it in the washing machine and the tumble dryer, but it does feel nice. It's going to be lovely and warm, and she just wants it on her settee that she can just, you know, snuggle up in. And what I think I've bought enough. So this is the first set of 3. There's the second. I think I've got 2 more, so I would have had 4 balls. So it's almost like if I can get 18 rows out of 1. Yeah, it's almost 60 row blanket, which I think will be fine for over the settee. It's quite long. So when I lie it down, it's the width of a single bed. So the Attic 24 pattern said how many stitches to chain, but when I did that, it was double the size I needed, so I unravelled it. I suppose where it's so chunky. So yeah, I'm happy. It's going all right. It needs to be done by the end of January, which I should be able to get it done by. Oh, it does feel nice and squidgy. It's not particularly pretty, but I don't think she just wanted something to go in her front room that was beige. Some people like beige, but like I say, it's not as exciting to make when you've been used to making loads of colourful things. I do feel like I've made lots of gifts lately. So recently on Instagram, the lovely Lyndsey from Stitch Create Love, and she has a podcast, Stitch Create Love, she put a call out for testers for her next pattern, which is going to be a cowl pattern. And I've made a couple of cowls, but I really love Lyndsey's style of writing patterns. She's very thorough, very clear, with lots of extras in there as well. So I really wanted to do that. And I've been lucky enough, she said yes. So she wanted to make this cowl. It's called... Oh, it's in here. Sorry, I'm looking for my little book. I've got a new little notebook for 2020 projects. And it's called the Spring is in the Air cowl. And she wanted it made with minis. So I have got some minis. A few years ago, I got the Nora George advent calendar, but I haven't really ever used them. I've sometimes given them away as little gifts, or I think I've only ever used them once on like a sock heel or something. But so I struggle to find things that I want to put minis in. And so when Lyndsey said, I really want it to be made with minis, that's what the pattern is meant to be, I just thought, oh great, I'm going to use them up. So I picked them to be a bit like a fade. I'm going to show you some of the minis. Look there. So they're really pretty. I'll do it one at a time. So lots of different speckles in there. This is lovely. Look at that one with the blue. So this really did remind me of spring, actually, just all the greens. I really do love green, and the yellows. You just imagine daffodils and new flowers popping up. That's pretty, isn't it? Look at that. And this yellowy one does remind me of, like narcissus. Is that what they're called? The little daffodils with sometimes orange centres. So I'll show you what I've done so far. So it starts off with a little bit of rib, and that's using that really yellow colour. And then it goes into... First of all, I'm just going to tell you what I've done a little bit different. The needle rather, she suggests it should be on a 40-inch loop, but I didn't have that. I've got the right needle size, but not the right... Can't think of how to say things today. Cord. So I've gone with an 80cm cord, and I'm making it like magic loop. So I just split the cast on stitches over the 2 stitches and making a big sock, which I love. I love magic loop. Here, that might be a bit an easier way to show it. So maybe I should do it that way up. So the lacy part of the pattern creates... Oh, I'm not very good at showing. How can I show it? Let me find a different way of... You might see it there. It creates a bit of a heart. It's meant to be a simple heart-shaped lace pattern. Oh, sorry, Lyndsey, I'm not doing your pattern justice because it is beautiful. I'm absolutely loving making this. So like you say, you start with the rib and then you do 5 blocks of colour with this lace heart motif. I might even show you a picture because that would be better, than it. Let me show you a picture of her pattern. Yeah, that's better, isn't it? So yeah, your little bit of rib and then the hearts. Oh, it's lovely, isn't it? So that's going to be released in a few weeks' time. But the pattern is beautiful. I'm loving it. I'm loving the yarn actually as well, and I'm hoping that they do sort of... Oh my god, it's rubbish. So sorry. It is a bit of a fade, yellows into the greens. see it there. But look at that yellow, isn't it pretty? All those little speckles. So in the end, that advent calendar has come in really handy to have a selection already of real matching mixture of yarns. It's very soft. So thank you, Lyndsey, for letting me test your beautiful pattern. It is flawless. It's so lovely. I love that bit there, that stitch that creates this sort of line. Really lovely. That'll be nice. This is probably going to be a gift as well, actually. I put it in my little homemade bag, which is not very good because I did it the inside is too small. So it's almost like made my bag so much shorter, but it's fine for this, this project. And that's the needle I'm using. I quite like higher sharps. I have got wooden needles, but I just didn't have it in this particular size. Oh, so they're my January makes, the cowl and the crochet blanket. Yeah, do you all do this as well? Do you all have a little notebook that you write all your projects in? I'm constantly keeping track of all my rows, and just stops me keep looking at my phone for the pattern. And who doesn't love a notebook? There, lovely. So they're my makes. I haven't done any sewing at all, but I thought I'd put on something that I've made in the past. I've shown you this on the hanger, but not on. This is not my favourite thing, but it's fine. This is the trapeze dress by Merchant and Mills. It was my second go at making the trapeze, and it's still not a good, I don't think it's a good shape for me. The good thing about the dresses I've made last summer though is that you can still wear them in the winter, and I just wear them with long sleeve top and leggings. I'm going to turn you around and I'll show you it on and you'll see what I mean. I don't think it's very flattering on me. So it's nice here, it fits around the shoulders, around the bust and the arms, but it is far too, let me get longer, far too big. It has got pockets, which is fine, but it is really, you can see there's so much material. I did make a little tie, but this material is not very drapey, and you have to really sort of fold the material in to get a kind of drawn in waist, so I don't tend to do that. It's comfortable, it's pretty fabric. Looks alright with the black underneath, doesn't it? But like I say, it's, for me, I don't think it's very flattering. It just feels a bit tenty on me. But it's me made, and that's always nice, isn't it, when you make your own things? I have got plans though. I keep thinking in my head things that I want to make, and I've got lots of fabric. I've got everything ready to go. Yeah, it's just finding some time where you can just carve out, right, this is when I'm going to have a sewing day. But hopefully next time I'll have something sewn. The other things I wanted to talk to you about were some books. For Christmas, my husband and daughter bought me a couple of books. They bought me, have you heard of this one? The Dear NHS 100 Stories to Say Thank You. And it was edited by Adam Kay, and he wrote that book, This Is Going to Hurt. Oh, it's lovely. It was really, really interesting. That a lot of it's loads of celebrities, and in fact there's over 100 have written a letter to the NHS to say thank you. But there's also obviously mentions of COVID and you know, the current climate. But it was really interesting reading, yeah, people that you know on the TV, you know, their personal stories, and some of them are really, really horrific. And like Graham Norton, oh my God, his is the first story, and it's really shocking. And other people talking about their children that have been unwell, but it was really eye-opening. It was really it made me feel proud, the fact that I work in the NHS. That was, you know, really nice. But yeah, it's a real celebration of, you know, despite people going through traumatic times, you know, there's some good memories of caring staff. So yeah, it's a really good read. I really recommend it. And I've passed it on to my mum to read, so I haven't got that to show you. But the other book was this, and I finished this last night, Alex Gray, When Shadows Fall. And I said to my daughter, just go to Sainsbury's, our local supermarket, and just pick me a book. I really just wanted her to choose something. And through December, me and my husband have been watching quite a lot of crime documentaries and like true crime, which I quite like. So yeah, she bought me that book and it's really good. Yeah, I'd really recommend it. When you see some of these books, because the supermarkets are full of these kind of crime dramas, and I suppose, not being snobby about books, but you know, sometimes you see lots of chick lit or lots of crime and you never know whether is this going to be good or is it just, are they all just much of a muchness? But I really enjoyed it. It was really interesting, really good read. And Alex, she's a female, she's written loads. So that was really nice to read a book and just think, oh, I could read lots more of hers. But that was I'd recommend it. It was really good. I can imagine it being a film. It was really, really good. The other thing I love about January is starting afresh, and I'm sure lots of other people are like this, you know, the whole trying to be healthy. But quite a few years ago, my mum bought me this lovely book, Nigel Slater, The Kitchen Diaries, and it is like a diary. And when you open it up, it's like January the 1st and how he's feeling and what he's going to cook, and so it takes you through month by month different recipes that are seasonal. And I thought, oh, that's lovely, I really want to do that. So I've for January, I mean, there's loads of recipes in the January section, and I've made quite a lot of them, like a lovely lentil soup and stews using like pearl barley, and he's got a couple of cakes in here, so even though I'm trying to be healthy, I did make the cakes. One of them was this lovely marmalade cake with that little bit of icing. Oh my god, that cake was lovely. In fact, I made it last night for my mum for her birthday. But that was delicious, and again, really still felt Christmassy because of the orange. And my daughter made this lovely ginger. Oh, we love ginger cake. So we made that for ourselves, and then she also made it again for a birthday cake for a friend. But oh, there's some just lovely recipes. So that's my plan, to go through the year following. I've not even looked ahead because I just think, no, I'm just going to focus on January and just make all the things for January. Oh, it's really lovely and really simple. Oh, this was a really nice one. It was sausages with lentils, but we bought so I don't really like sausages, but we bought the Heck chicken sausages, and oh, that was delicious with nice stew and mash, and yeah, really lovely. So it feels really nice because I had got a bit, I'm sure like everyone else, you make the same things over and over again, but I was even getting bored of the things that I used to like. So just to change it up a little bit. I've also been getting recipes from the Deliciously Ella app. Has anyone else got this? It's great. I think when I bought it, it was free, or 99p, but it's full of great recipes, breakfast, drinks, mains, soups, and really quick. I think it's vegan. You can adapt them if you want to add dairy, like cheese and things, or meat. But yeah, we've really enjoyed them as a whole family. Everyone's loved them. So it just feels nice just to be doing some different recipes, but things that are seasonal. Oh my god, I'm freezing in here. It's so cold. I've got a heater, but it's too noisy. The other thing that I've been doing is I've been really trying to create some daily routines and daily habits. And Well, first of all, I think after I read that book, I think I showed you last time about sort of depression and anxiety, there was a mention in there about things, that can really help, and meditation was one of them. And I've done meditation when I've been to sort of, yoga classes, but not just done it as just for its own sake. And ages ago, the lovely Emma from Potter and Bloom, she had mentioned this app called Insight Timer. Oh, you can't really see it on here, but again, it was another free app, Insight Timer. I'll link it all below. And I'd had it on my phone ever since she'd recommended it, but never really used it. And then I just thought, I'm just going to click on it. And they had a January morning challenge. So I thought, that will be good. That will get me into it. So I've been doing that every morning, and every day it's someone different doing like a 10 minute or 15 minute at the most meditation. And today's meditation, I will show you. Let me show you this. Today's was a beautiful Russell Brand. Oh my God, his voice, it was lovely. I kept my eyes shut the whole time for that. Some of them have been strange. Like one of them, they just spoke for about not even a minute, and then it was complete silence for 10 minutes, and I kept just opening my eye to have a look at the clock. So that was quite weird. I quite like it if people, guide you a little bit, or there's some nice music. In the silent one, there wasn't even any music. It was quite hard to just sit there and be silent. So I know it's a skill, you have to learn. But that's been quite funny. But Russell's this morning, that was very nice. And hand in hand with that, I've also been following on YouTube yoga with Adrienne. Now, I'm sure I've mentioned her before, or I know lots of you know her already, but she's fantastic, and she always does. There's always some kind of month-long program, and again, they're not really long, 20 minutes to 30 minutes. And a few years ago, me and a friend, we went to one of her classes. She was on tour, and she came to Alexandra Palace in London, and there was thousands of us all on the floor, and she was there walking around. So I really love her. I think she's really good. So she's doing a daily yoga. So as soon as I wake up in the morning, I just get downstairs, get my mat out, do the yoga practice, and then do the meditation. And it's made such a difference. I feel I feel more flexible, I feel strong, I feel calm. I did have a couple of days where my cat was just meowing and crying the whole time, and then pooed on the floor, and so that wasn't particularly calming. But generally, I've been feeling really good. So check her out. And there again, she has thousands of videos on her YouTube, and you can, it's all free. But she'll always have, there's a section of, like the monthly challenges, 30 days of yoga she tends to do, and quite regularly as well. But you can dip into old ones. So I haven't had a day that I've not done it, so that feels really good. And in my past, I used to do yoga a lot. I love yoga. I did yoga before I had my daughter. I did pregnancy yoga. Yoga is definitely one of my things that I love, and I'm so glad that I've got back to it, because I found I was just, apart from going to work, I was just sitting on my bum, not only moving my wrists for crochet. So I was starting to really feel like I was not very strong anymore, and yoga really does make you feel like that, with the breathing and the supporting your own weight. And so I'm really pleased, and I'm hoping maybe that I'll just carry on, just each month keep doing yoga every morning. And when you listen to the meditation, the people guiding you often talk about their morning routine, and nearly everybody does a bit of yoga or exercise in the morning. So that's been really beneficial. The other thing that I've been doing most days is walking, and that's because a lovely, let me get her right, someone I follow on Instagram who's a sewer, and she's called So Dainty. Let me just check that is her name. Her name is Kathy. So Dainty. Kathy. Now, I think in December, she put up a little Instagram story where she was walking and she looked so happy, and she said she'd just reached her 1,000 miles for 2020, and then indicated where this challenge has come from. And it's just looking at her face and the fact that she'd achieved that, in a year, and she looked good, and she said she'd lost weight and just, felt really good. I just thought, oh my God, I've got to do that. So I bought the magazine, Country Walking magazine, but in it had a lovely little booklet for inspiration, and it also comes with this progress tracker where you can write every day the miles that you do. It's got really sweet things to help you keep track of how many miles you're doing. Again, all sort of inspirational. And then there's a map on the back, so every 10 miles you colour in a little bit more of the map, so in the end, the whole of the map will be coloured in. And I love things like that. I love sort of documenting progress and seeing it visually as well. So to do 1,000 miles in a year, you have to do on average about 2.7 miles a day. And for me, having been sat on my bum for quite a long time, it's like, oh my God, that's 2.7, that's quite a lot. But I think it's less than an hour. And in fact, the other day I walked 6 miles, which was quite a lot. After I did that, I did think, oh no, that's a bit too much, because it did take 2 hours, and I haven't got 2 hours, when I'm working as well. So generally, I would walk after work, and I've got a little route that I've found that takes me just over 2 miles. So I've been doing that most days, and at the weekend I do a longer walk. And with the current lockdown, it's not about, I don't drive anywhere, I just leave my front door and just walk different ways and find different little routes. And I've really enjoyed it. And I've started documenting, not that I want to take selfies of, I don't really like taking pictures of myself, but just to try and track progress even in my face, even what I look like, and the surrounding nature. I really want to see how throughout the year on similar walks, where there's lots of trees, I'm going to be taking some pictures for me. So that's really interesting, and I'm really loving that. I think that's about it. Oh no, one more thing. So along with the walking, when I've been walking, I've been listening to a podcast on Spotify. Now, before I've often done couch to 5k, and I've run, and obviously always listen to music when I run. But when I'm walking, I thought I wanted to listen to a podcast, and initially I thought, oh, should I try and find a story? But on Spotify, Dr. Louise Newson, who runs the Menopause Clinic, where I had a telephone appointment and got started on HRT, she does this podcast, and it is amazing. I would recommend every woman, if you're in your 30s or above, or any age really, is to listen to this podcast, because it's full of such useful information. She interviews people. Each podcast lasts about 30 minutes. So I tend to listen to a couple when I'm walking around, but she's interviewed other doctors, physiotherapists, pharmacists, people that have experienced the menopause, the partners of those. It's just been amazing. And even though I thought after finding out about her, and I think I talked quite a bit about the menopause a little while ago, I thought I had a lot more knowledge, but since listening to the podcast, it's been amazing. And one of the things that she talked about was when women are perimenopausal and their estrogen levels drop, that's when all of the sort of menopause symptoms arise. And she was saying that estrogen gets everywhere, it's in every cell, and she talked about it being around the bladder, and sometimes the symptoms are frequent urine infections or cystitis or incontinence, and I had that, not infections, but definitely this might be too much information for some people, but I think it needs to be spoken about because it's embarrassing, isn't it? And I think on the telly they advertise tenor lady pads all the time as if it's just accepted that women get older and then they have to wear a pad. And when I ran, I definitely had to wear a big pad all the time because I just would weave throughout the whole run. And I even pooed on a few occasions, which is terrible, isn't it? But it just goes to show that your pelvic floor, you know, is not very good, and my estrogen was not very good. So when I did that 6-mile walk the other day, I didn't even have the urge to go to the toilet. Whereas normally, if I leave my house, like before I was on HRT, I would have a wee before I left. I'd drive to work and then have another wee, or make sure I weed before I went out and did my work. And it was such an issue, you know, I couldn't go very long without needing to run to the toilet. And it's only since doing this walk every day, it just made me think, oh my goodness, my estrogen levels must be much better. And because I'm not really doing lots of pelvic floor exercises, but it just feels different. So yeah, I'd urge you, go check her out. So on Spotify, I think she's called Dr. Louise Newson, Menopause Doctor. There are loads of podcasts and she's doing them every week. I think I'm on number 26, so I'm working my way through. But they're amazing. And it's important. I think we all need, as women, we need to be aware of what's happening to our bodies and what can help. So and she's the expert. She's a specialist in her field. So yeah, check out My Menopause Doctor on Spotify. Really good. Right, that's enough. I can't believe I talked about my incontinence, but yeah. So I suppose the other thing, just to round up, is I'm going to be 50 this year, and I suppose that's another reason why in the new year I always want to, feel like I've got to try and look after myself, and especially listening to those podcasts. I just want to be as healthy as I possibly can be, and as well as taking HRT, which will help replenish my estrogen, it also helps reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, dementia, osteoporosis, so many other long-term health conditions which I'm just desperate to not have as I get older. So yeah, and working in the NHS as well. Very soon, hopefully I'll be getting my COVID vaccine, so I'm looking forward to that. Anyone else out there, if you get offered it, or please, take it. We've got to all help each other, haven't we, and keep each other safe. So yeah, I hope you're all well. I've chatted for a bit long. I didn't think I'd have too much to talk about. I hope it's been all right. I'm sorry about the personal stuff, but I think we need to share these things. If they're not talked about, they just become hidden, and it's really important to share, isn't it? So hopefully I'll see you in February. I'm really trying to do a podcast every month, keep you up to date with what I've made, what I'm making, what I'm reading, and future plans. So yeah, take care everyone, and see you soon. Bye.